Will not be returning to the Daily Edition due to the serious allegations that have been made against him. Now, the network was unaware of these allegations until notified last night. We were all understandably shocked by the situation, but as the matter is now before the courts, we won't be commenting further. Now, let's move on to a check of the 7 News headlines with Angela Cox.
Good afternoon. The Victorian Premier is pleading with people not to go out if they are sick after the number of new coronavirus infections hit 17. Drivers have been queuing for hours around Melbourne to be tested for the virus with fears of extra community transmission.
There is literally an army of people going out door knocking. There will be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people from our expanded public health team out there door knocking in hotspot suburbs.
The focus is on 6 hotspot suburbs, with authorities going door to door to make sure locals keep up social distancing. City-bound drivers on Queensland's Warrego Highway have been delayed for hours after a grain truck rolled outside Brisbane. The driver was taken to hospital with minor injuries, leaving a major clean-up near Ipswich. Joel Dry reports.
Well, several hours after this truck accident occurred, this is the physical mess that still remains, but the real mess is the traffic nightmare that is occurring just a few hundred metres back up the road. This B-double has completely blocked all eastbound lanes of the Warrego Highway. That is the major connecting road between Toowoomba, the Lockyer Valley, the western side of Ipswich, and then on to Brisbane. At this hour, it would normally be chock-a-block, but at the moment it is completely shut down. We know that this truck went into the embankment just a bit further up the road, gone onto its side and slid several hundred metres to its final resting point. It has 2 containers that were on the back of the truck. We understand they contain some sort of grain. That has been withheld into the containers, so that will make the clean-up a bit easier. But at the moment, the focus is righting this truck. There are several heavy vehicles, 4 towies on scene trying to make that happen. The plan is then to pull this out off of the road, get traffic flowing again.
It was pretty shocking. You don't expect it to wake up to a massive bang early hours of the morning. It was some crazy stuff, to be honest.
It started up there, as I noticed, and somehow ended down here.
Traffic has been banked up for hours now, for several kilometres. Diversions are in place. Obviously, people have been told to avoid this area if possible. It's expected that by this afternoon the road will be back open. As for the driver, well, thankfully he is okay. He has understandably been taken to hospital, but is only suffering from minor injuries.
The council assisting the coroner in the disappearance of William Tyrrell has this morning arrived at the site of a new search. The 3-year-old went missing on the New South Wales mid-north coast almost 6 years ago. Natasha Squarey has more on this latest search.
Well, this is day 2 of the 4-day search. It's a new search that's now focusing in and around bushland where convicted pedophile Frank Abbott lived at the time of the toddler's disappearance. This location is about a 10-minute drive from William Tyrrell's foster grandmother's home, where he was last seen in September 2014. The coronial inquest into his suspected murder heard that Frank Abbott, who is currently serving time in jail, became obsessed with the Tyrrell case and would often talk about the smell of a dead human here at Herons Creek. Today, SES volunteers have once again joined New South Wales Police in the investigation. The search, which is being done at the direction of the coroner, kicked off around 9 a.m. and crews have been making their way through dense bushland using whippersnippers and chainsaws, but police won't reveal if they're finding anything along the way. The search is expected to wrap up on Thursday.
Stretching out in splendid isolation, even in a crowd, is now possible because of an invention from Canada. The specialised yoga domes have built-in heat regulators to create a similar atmosphere to a hot yoga studio. The 50 domes are cleaned and disinfected after each use to create a COVID-friendly environment. I'm not sure about that, Sal and Shaun. I think it would get pretty nasty in there.
Oh, pretty warm indeed, Ange. Thank you. And a good afternoon to Sunrise's Shaun White. Thanks for coming in.
Good afternoon, Sally. Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate you joining us, and very excited to let you know that for the remainder of the week I'll be joined by someone who is no stranger to the Daily Edition desk, my co-host for 5 years, Tom Williams. We are very much looking forward to having him back tomorrow and Friday. Now, we've got a lot more to come for you today. You're watching the Daily Edition, and we're back after this. Mulroney, the husband of Meghan Markle's best friend Jessica Mulroney, has stepped down as the anchor of his Canadian television show. Peter Ford, our entertainment editor, is here. Pete, what's happened?
Well, it goes to show you how just an online conversation can take on huge proportions. This goes back a couple of weeks now. It involves Jessica Mulroney, Ben's wife. She got into an argument with a woman called Sasha Exeter. She's an Instagram influencer and a black model. And there was seen to be levels of threat and intimidation that were being delivered towards Sasha. We saw the blowback with Jessica. The added thing that gave this a bit more tabloid fuel is the fact that she is very best friends with Meghan Markle. So anyway, fast forward 2 weeks down the track, and now Ben Mulroney has decided that he should also step down from his job. Again, just because of an online conversation disagreement, huge ramifications. So the show he was doing was an entertainment-based program, and this is Ben Mulroney announcing his decision.
I love my wife. However, it is not my place to speak for her. And today, together, we are committed to doing the work to both learn and understand more about anti-black racism, as well as learn and understand more about our blind spots. So what does this mean for me? Well, it means acknowledging here today that my privilege has benefited me greatly. And while I have certainly worked hard to build my career, I know that systemic racism and injustice helps people like me and harms those who aren't like me, often in ways that are invisible to us. And that is why I have decided to immediately step away from my role as anchor at eTalk to create space for a new perspective and a new voice.
So, as you can see, huge ramifications there from just what was a simple online chat.
Definitely.
Yeah. Pete, actress Megan Fox has issued an open letter about her experiences working in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's hard to know what the origins of this story is. It's almost like people are just going through YouTube and trying to find old clips. And so this story here involved Megan Fox, the actress, the model, and she had spoken 11 years ago about the fact the director, Michael Bay, had wanted her to audition. She was 15, maybe 16 years old, in a bikini under a waterfall. So it was obviously sexualising a minor. Now, this clip has been dug up. It was doing the rounds. People were demanding that she address it. So let's firstly take a look at the clip and what she did say 11 years ago.
I had just turned 15 and I was an extra in Bad Boys 2.
Really?
And yeah, they were shooting this club scene and they brought me in and I was wearing a Stars and Stripes bikini and a red cowboy hat and like 6-inch heels. And they took me to Mike and he approved it and they said, you know, Michael, she's 15 so you can't sit her at the bar and she can't have a drink in her hand. So his solution to that problem was to then have me dancing underneath a waterfall getting soaking wet.
So it's funny, isn't it? You know, 11 years ago, you didn't hear any gasps of shock or anything from the audience, so times have changed and what we consider acceptable has changed. However, Megan Fox does want us to know that she still is willing to interpret this differently, that she does not believe that she was sexualised, she does not believe she was compromised. She wants to put it out there. I don't know that she's, you know, hedging her bets to try and get more work out of Michael Bay. I have no idea. But she certainly, on the record, wanted to say, don't feel bad on my behalf.
Yeah, interesting, because they had a big falling out, the two of them. So
exactly, yes.
Now, Donald Trump's former National Security Advisor John Bolton has given a tell-all interview.
Yeah, well, this is the book that everybody's talking about because he was in the inner sanctum. I mean, this is not a journo who's left-wing and wants to bring Donald Trump down. This is somebody who actually was. You can see he was in the room where it happened. It's amazing this book has actually been able to be bought out. You would think he'd be governed by all sorts of restrictions on what he can and can't talk about, having been in that privileged position. But he has given his very first interview. Obviously, it's not going to be great PR for Donald Trump, and he clearly does not think that Donald Trump is fit for office. Here's a little of what he said in his first interview with ABC in America.
I don't think he's fit for office. I don't think he has the competence to carry out the job. I don't think he's a conservative Republican. I think Putin thinks he can play him like a fiddle. I think Putin is smart, tough. I think he sees that he's not faced with a serious adversary here. I don't think he's worried about Donald Trump. I don't think President Trump really fears what foreign governments are going to read in the book. He fears what the American people are going to read.
So there you go. There's been a lot more interviews and there'll be a lot more said about Donald Trump. And not to forget, of course, the niece's book is still a few weeks away.
Yeah, and the book's already #1. All right,
yes.
Pete, thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, and coming up, a virtual date starring not one, but two duchesses. See what happened when Kate and Camilla joined forces for a worthy cause.
Well, what a whirlwind this year has been. In these uncertain times, the pressure to get on top of our finances is something that, if anything, has gotten even worse. To help make our lives just a little bit easier, Nikki Racco is here to tell us about Society One. Nikki, great to have you back in the studio.
Oh, thanks, Kaz. Lovely to see you too. You know, you're right. We are living in some really strange times.
Yes.
But while we are all more conscious of what we are spending our money on, that doesn't mean that the burden has been lifted from how we used to spend our money. But this is where Society One can help.
Yeah. Now, for those who haven't heard, tell us a little bit about Society One and how they can help.
Well, Society One is an Australian-owned, award-winning marketplace lender offering personal loans between $5,000 and $50,000. Now, you can choose the loan term and repayment option that best suits you, and there are no monthly fees, early repayment fees or upfront payments.
Fantastic.
Just a one-off establishment fee, which is included in the total loan amount. The payments are fixed, which makes budgeting so easy, which is important for so many people right now.
Oh, absolutely. And there hasn't really been a more important time to really take control of our finances as well. So what have Society One found with the types of loans that people are taking out now?
Well, while people might be less likely to be planning an overseas holiday right now,
Yes.
Society One has customers applying for loans to make improvements on their home, buy a car, sort out an unexpected expense, or simplify their debts into one easy-to-manage payment.
So how are Society One's interest rates in comparison to, say, what we would get from one of the major banks?
Society One believe in rewarding their customers with better interest rates. Now, they look at each person's individual credit history and offer a personalised rate, often much lower than they'd likely get from a big bank.
I tell you what, that sounds great.
Yes.
But how do I know if I've got a good credit score?
Oh, great question. Look, many people don't know what their credit score is or if it's good or bad, but you can now find out your credit score with Society One. Now, it's free to get your score, plus you get instant insights, tips on how to improve it. You can even track your progress.
Yeah, I tell you what, that is so helpful. There must be many happy customers out there as well.
Oh, there are, Karen. You only have to look at the thousands of reviews online. By offering great rates on personal loans, having a great customer service team that is Australian-owned and run, plus having a simple application process, Society One have been able to help so many Australians get their finances back on track.
Yeah, and it's absolutely important to support Australian business as well. Now, you mentioned the application process earlier on. Just how simple is it?
It's an absolute breeze. You just go to society1.com.au on your computer, your tablet, or even your smartphone, where you can get your personalised interest rate and repayment quote in as little as 2 minutes. The best part is getting a quote doesn't affect your credit score, so you can safely find out what rate you're likely to get. Plus, it's completely obligation-free. If approved, you could have the money in as little as 1 business day.
Sounds great. As always, Nikki, thanks for being here.
Pleasure.
Now, for a more rewarding personal loan, go to society1.com.au and get your free personalised quote today.
Thanks, Kaz. The Duchess of Cornwall and the Duchess of Cambridge have joined forces for a special cause. Catherine and Camilla are participating in a campaign that raises awareness for the Children's Hospice Week, which is happening right now across the UK.
Thank you all for zooming in to join Catherine and I today at the start of Children's Hospice Week. I was going to start, before I asked all of you to share your experiences, by describing what I felt like when I first went to visit a children's hospice, Helena Douglas House, as it was then, Helen House. I think it was about 13 years ago. And I have to admit, I was filled with a certain amount of trepidation because I wasn't sure what I was going to find. When I arrived, I was totally amazed by what I found.
Meanwhile, Catherine described the work of the children's hospices as extraordinary.
It's a credit to the staff, really, that can provide the environment to help them go through, whether it's long-term care or short-term care. It's really awe-inspiring.
Now, the senior royals who have supported the charity for many years met with medical workers on a Zoom call, which has become a regular feature of their community outreach across the pandemic.
Haven't we gotten used to seeing the royals in these Zoom calls just continuing their amazing work?
Yep.
It's fantastic. Now soon for you, Tristan Banks starred in 270 episodes of Home and Away, but he gave it all up to write books for kids. So why did he do it? The former actor is live soon.
Plus, Dr. Vivek Murthy worked alongside President Barack Obama as the US Surgeon General. Now he's setting his sights on a hidden epidemic. The Good Doctor joins us live next. Appointed under President Obama as the America's Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy spent 3 years fighting on the front line and tackling urgent public health issues. During his time as America's top doctor, Vivek found a quiet crisis was spreading rapidly around the world in all ages.
In his new best-selling book, Vivek explores the roles of loneliness in modern society and its links with chronic illness. Now he's on a mission to bring us all together, prescribing ways to help stop the loneliness epidemic. And Dr. Vivek Murthy joins us now live from Miami. Vivek, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. It was while you were working with Barack Obama that you, I guess, got first thinking about this subject. What was it specifically that made you want to research this and write this book?
Well, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be with all of you. Yeah, this is not the book I thought I would write or the topic I thought I would focus on. But what happened to me when I was serving as Surgeon General under President Obama is that I had this extraordinary privilege of going to communities all across the country and talking to people about what was on their mind. And what I found surprisingly was that behind so many of the stories of substance use disorders and depression and anxiety and chronic illness were these threads of loneliness. I came to realize that many people in our country and around the world struggled with loneliness. In fact, more adults in the U.S. struggle with loneliness and have diabetes or smoke. What I also came to realize, though, is that it's consequential for our health, that people who struggle with loneliness have a higher risk of heart disease and premature death and depression and anxiety. So this is why it became clear to me that loneliness is, in fact, a public health priority that we have to address with urgency and precision.
Yeah, Vivek, we often associate loneliness with elderly people. Well, what does it look like in young people and what are the effects?
Well, this is one of the things that it was so striking about what I was seeing is that it was not just the elderly who were impacted. In fact, it was people across the age span. And one of the highest rates of loneliness that I was seeing, in fact, were among young people, adolescents and young adults. Loneliness can look like someone who is withdrawing, but it can also look like anger and irritability. It can look like depression. It can look like anxiety. Because it can look like so many things, and because of the unfortunate shame that surrounds loneliness, we often don't see it. But it is, in fact, extraordinarily common.
You know, Vivek, you finished this book long before COVID-19. Now many people are feeling anxious about the future. Can you share with us some tips on how you think it would be a good way to get through this challenging time?
Well, absolutely. And there is good news here. And the good news is that social connection is something we can cultivate in our lives. And it's an extraordinary resource that I think many of us may not entirely appreciate, but it has the power to improve our health and the power to enhance our performance and increase our fulfillment. And there's some simple ways that we can cultivate human connection despite the distancing we're being asked to observe during COVID-19. So number one, we can make it a point to spend at least 15 minutes a day with people we care about. That could be video conferencing with them, calling them on the phone to see how they are. Second, we can make sure that that time actually counts. We can improve the quality of our time with each other by reducing distraction, especially from technology. The third thing we can do is seek each other out with opportunities to serve. It turns out that service is one of the greatest antidotes to loneliness. It shifts our focus to another human being in the context of a positive interaction. And it also enhances and reaffirms our own value and worth that we bring to the world. But finally, I would say moments of solitude are important to protect in our life. As counterintuitive as that is, it's those moments when we ground ourselves, when we recenter ourselves, when we let the noise around us settle, that we're better able to approach other people from a place of calm. And our connections are often stronger, our engagements are often healthier when we approach others in that context.
Yeah, Vivek, you dealt with many health crises as Surgeon General of the US under Barack Obama. What are your concerns with, I guess, the pandemic now in your country and around the world?
Well, unfortunately, we are still in the early stages of this pandemic, even though it has been raging for months around the world, and including in the United States and Australia. The truth is that we are nowhere near the end of this. What we are going to need ultimately is a vaccine. That is the way that we will get widespread immunity in the population. But for now, we still have to remain vigilant and build up our capacity to test, to contact trace, to tamp down episodes of the virus when it does, in fact, sprout up. In the United States, we are seeing a resurgence of the virus after an initial peak and an initial decline. We unfortunately are seeing a worsening in many states as reopening has continued. So we've got a ways to go here in the U.S., but we know that the world has hit actually an all-time high in terms of new cases. So lots of work to do still, unfortunately, and we've got to stick together, follow the science, and communicate clearly with the public so people know how to protect themselves and their families.
Yeah, absolutely. On top of the pandemic, Vivek, one of the big things, of course, is the Black Lives Matter movement. It's been sweeping the nation. For you, growing up as part of an ethnic minority family, was racism something that you've experienced?
Absolutely, it has been. And, I say that despite the fact that, we had an extraordinarily great experience here in the United States. We were embraced by many. When we moved here, we were supported by teachers in public schools, by neighbors, but we still did experience, unfortunately, racism and on the basis of our skin color and our ethnicity. But despite whatever I have experienced, it is nothing in comparison to what Black people in America have experienced over the years. And I think what we are seeing in our country now is a reawakening and a recognition, really, of the hundreds of years, frankly, of racial injustice that people have struggled with in the United States. And it is high time that we began to address that and to build in equity, not just in how we treat each other, but in our institutions as well, which unfortunately have a great deal of racism built into them.
Yeah, Vivek Murthy, so well said. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you joining us.
And
of course, it's great to be with you.
Thank you.
Thanks. And Dr. Vivek Murthy's book, Together, is out now.
All right. Now, soon for you, a call out for volunteers in an Aussie trial for a COVID-19 vaccine. Are you what they're looking for? Find out after this.
Well, shopping for a new bra can be a bit of a nightmare. It can be time-consuming, hard to find your size and fit, uncomfortable and also expensive. Thankfully, my next guest is here to help. Great to have you back, Nikki.
Oh, nice to see you too. And I absolutely agree. Finding the perfect bra seems near impossible, but search no more because the Sarah Mere bra...
voila!
Is here.
I'll tell you what, it looks great and the fabric feels really soft as well. But what makes Sarah Mere so different to traditional bras?
Well, with Sarah Mere, there are no cutting straps, no more poking underwire and no more unsightly back fat. Now you can say no to bras that your body is supposed to fit because Sarah Mere is designed to fit perfectly to your body. It's a bra so supporting and flattering, yet so comfortable you won't even know you're wearing a bra.
Yeah, it sounds amazing, but how does it actually fit to my body?
Good question. Well, the secret is Sarah Mere's double conforming lifting straps. The lace strap is a lifting wrap, just criss and cross, to be cradled in comfort and youthfully lifted. Sarah Mere also comes with adjustable lifting straps, so you get double the support, double the comfort and double the smoothness, all without underwire. Now, let's take a closer look at Sarah Mere. Sarah Mere's lace straps not only look great, but they give you that extra lift and support that we all want. All you need to do is just criss and cross. And you can even control how much lift and support you want with the 3 comfort levels on the sides. Now, Sarah Mere has 360 degrees of soft, breathable fabric and is designed with front and back cooling mesh panels to help you stay cool and dry. But don't just take my word for it. Have a listen to some happy customers.
I'm literally obsessed with this bra. It is super functional and super comfortable. Feels like I'm wearing nothing. I mean, look at it. Love it.
Some great feedback, Nikki.
Absolutely. And Sarah Mere fits all shapes and supports all sizes. You'll look and feel Sarah Mere good from the front, the back, the sides and even the straps, Kaz. And the sizing is easy. They go from small up to 2XL.
Okay, so how can we get a Sarah Mere for ourselves?
Just call Global Shop Direct on 1300 134 888 or go online to sarahmere.com.au now and get your Sarah Mere bra in your choice of black, white or nude for the low price on your screen. But if you want even more value, you can upgrade your order to our Value 3-pack and save $70. You'll get 1 black, 1 white and 1 nude bra and an amazing saving. And Sarah Mere also comes with our 30-day wear it, love it, money-back guarantee. Put Sarah Mere to the test, and if it's not the most comfortable soft bra you've ever worn, simply send it back within 30 days for a full refund of the product price.
Thanks, Nikki. The number again is 1300 134 888, or you can also head online to sarahmere.com.au and grab one or grab all three for yourself today.
Well, researchers at the Royal Adelaide Hospital are looking for 100 adults to take part in a potential COVID-19 vaccine trial to take place later this year. But here's the twist. No particular vaccine candidate has been chosen so far, but South Australia Health says the campaign wants to have a database of volunteers ready to go as soon as the trial is authorised.
One of the clinical immunologists involved has said that a number of potential immunisations are showing promising results in animal models, so they're excited at the prospect of beginning human trials in Adelaide.
Still, a lot more to talk about this afternoon, including more controversy surrounding Harry and Meghan's highly anticipated biography, why the author has been forced to defend the book. Soon.
But next, 90s Summer Bay fave turned children's author Tristan Banks is live, why he swapped the beach for the books and found success with a story about knits. That's next on the Daily Edition. We're talking about Summer Bay bad boys, and Tristan Banks, aka Tug O'Neill, was the original villain. The home and away alum caused quite the stir on screen, but off screen he couldn't be further from his character.
Yeah, the actor, director turned author has found a literary success writing books aimed for kids and teens. Now, Tristan's re-releasing his classic tale of Knit Boy, the hair-raising story of a school kid's relationship with the little critters on his head. Tristan Banks joins us live. When you look back, Tristan, that old vision of yourself on Home and Away, what comes to mind?
Weird hair. I had those sort of McDonald's arches of the early 90s, sort of a Hugh Grant kind of look. Look, only fond memories, actually. It was such a good way to get out in the world. I think I started full-time on that show the day after I finished high school, so It was a pretty wild way to begin my career.
Yeah, isn't it just? Now, you're a part of some pretty sordid storylines. Your character Tug had a bit of a fling with a high school teacher who was played by Tony Perrin. What would Tug be doing now, do you think?
Well, as I remember, he went off on a tractor on a farm and went off to live with his father, who was a criminal. And actually, through my books, there are some sort of criminal threads of fathers who are up to no good. So maybe he's kind of finding his way into my books, and he's still kind of alive in the pages.
I love it.
We did see a throwback pic you recently posted of yourself alongside Dita Brummer, Melissa George and Laura Vasquez. You shut down a shopping centre that day, right?
We did. I think it was in Doncaster in Melbourne. And I don't usually, in my defence, I don't usually put up pictures from 20 years ago kind of thing. That was a rare one. But it was a pretty wild day. I can't remember how many thousands of kids were there. But, yeah, a really great memory, and with some really good people too. I'm still good friends with those guys.
Crazy days. You've released a string of books for kids. Now, Knit Boy, tell us about this.
Knit Boy is about a kid with the worst case of nits in world history, and he has thousands of nits living on his head, and he's never had a haircut in his life, and he's had nits for so long that he kind of sees them as his pets. So while his teachers and his parents are trying to get rid of his nits, he's trying to kind of protect them because he thinks it's cruel what humans do to nits.
Yeah, well, all the parents are currently asking, why would you write a book about a kid's relationship with his head lice?
I figure that we humans can do extraordinary things, and we've sent people to the moon, and we've built extraordinary things and solved lots of problems, but we still can't solve this problem of these mini beasts feasting on our kids' scalps. And I just thought that was just too good. You know, you've got all the conflict you need on the kid's head in the story. And so, as well as kids loving pets, I figure that parents also can relate. And while I was writing these books, my wife would make sure that I was the one who had to comb the nits out of our kids' head. He was like, "You're the expert, dude."
You're the one writing the book. You should do the hard work. What is the secret, do you think, to writing a kid's book? Is it better when it's kind of gross? Do the kids prefer that?
I tend to go with my own humour and what sort of tickles me. So I don't sort of cynically think, kids like gross stuff, so I'm going to put lots of bums in my book or lots of bugs and things. I sort of go, I'm first trying to make myself laugh, and I figure if I can make myself laugh, then it'll probably make kids laugh. I tend to go with that. But it does so happen that both myself and kids seem to like gross stuff.
There must be something in the water at Summer Bay. Both Judy Nunn and Isla Fisher have gone on to forge careers as authors. Did Home and Away inspire any of your book characters?
I think, as I was saying, my character might have found his way in the criminal sort of character into my books. And also, I think there's often a thread of a kid who's interested in filmmaking and, shooting his own stuff. And I was always that teenager too, making my own horror movies with my mates and things. And quite often there are scenes where the kid's making a little movie, whether it's about his knits or, in Two Wolves, there's Ben Silver uses a video camera too.
That's great. Tristan, makes me always love having you on. Thank you so much. The book is called Nip Boy, and it is out next week.
Well, straight ahead, the monster dust storm that's been called the worst in 50 years. Those incredible pictures in just a moment.
Well, if you struggle to read most things without squinting, then look at what James has for us. Hi, James.
Hi, Karen. Look, when you can't see, it's frustrating.
Yes.
Trying to thread a needle, reading small print, or trying to work on a hobby can be just too difficult. Now, if this sounds like you, then you'll love the all-new Zoom Vision Plus, the incredible eyewear that brings the power of a magnifying glass right where you need it most. And now with powerful LED lights, it can help you see things you've been missing day or night with no prescription required. Now, have a look at this dictionary here. You can see it's got small print. In fact, it's so small, it's almost impossible to read. But watch as we put the Zoom Vision Plus in front. You can see the print through the lens. It's magnified by an incredible 160%. Look at the difference before and then look at the difference after. These are like two magnifying glasses you can wear. Watch this as we dim the studio lights, because unlike regular prescription glasses, with Zoom Vision, even though it's dark, it's still clear thanks to the two built-in LED lights. Now, they're ultra bright for incredible high beam vision, perfect for reading menus, ingredient lists, small instructions, even craft activities or intricate detailing. Plus, Zoom Vision comes with batteries already installed.
I tell you what, this is fantastic because I absolutely hate getting out my phone light just to read the menu at a restaurant.
It's the worst, isn't it?
What is the secret here?
Well, the secret's in Zoom Vision's ultra-sharp high-definition lens technology combined with dual LED illumination to help you see intricate details with laser clarity up to 160% bigger and all hands-free.
Seeing small objects used to be a problem for me, but now with Zoom Vision Plus, I can see them better than ever.
Zoom Vision was like a miracle. I put them on and suddenly I could read small print again and not be so frustrated all the time.
Wear them over your prescription glasses or contact lenses and enjoy reading and arts and crafts. You can wear them during the day without the lights on or at night without disturbing anyone. Remember, the whole lens of Zoom Vision Plus is a magnifying glass thanks to that incredible 160% magnification. No prescription needed. Anyone can use them day or night.
Gee, that's good, isn't it? Give us the deal.
Well, fiddly, intricate repair jobs are almost impossible if you can't clearly see what you're doing. With Zoom Vision Plus, everything becomes clearer, easier and larger. Call 029 387 4100. Get to cleverrange.com.au. Get your pair of Zoom Vision Plus with LED plus a spare set of batteries. Order right now. You'll also get a pair of these aviator glasses with the protective case. We'll even give you a pair of the original best-selling Zoom Vision for daytime wear. That's the Zoom Vision Plus, the aviator glasses and the Zoom Vision Original, all for just $69.95. Now, if you're one of the first 78 orders per state right now, we'll double the whole offer. Buy one set, get a second set free. That's 2 pairs of Zoom Vision Plus with LED, 2 pairs of aviators, 2 pairs of original Zoom Vision, as well as spare batteries, all for just $69.95. It's a limited time offer, not available in stores. Call 029 387 4100. Get to cleverrange.com.au and don't miss out.
I'm going to get on the phone and grab my pair. Thanks, James.
Well, a massive cloud of dust from the Sahara Desert is causing havoc throughout the Caribbean and is now headed towards the United States. The cloud, which is so dense it can be viewed from space, has travelled some 8,000 kilometres, and experts say they haven't seen something this big for more than half a century.
It has air quality across most of the region fallen to the hazardous levels, with extreme weather event nicknamed the Godzilla dust cloud. Residents are being warned to stay inside and to use air filters if they have them. Oh, crazy pictures. Now, still to come, why everyone's talking about a reunion between two of the biggest sitcom stars of the 90s. We're going to show it to you in just a moment.
And next, from St. Elmo's Fire to the Lost Boys and Batman Forever. Celebrities pay tribute to the man behind some of Hollywood's biggest films. Back after this. Well, tributes have been shared across Hollywood for legendary director Joel Schumacher, who has passed away aged 80. For more, we're joined by entertainment reporter Melissa Hoyer. Mel, he leaves behind a long cinematic legacy.
He certainly does. It's a name that's really synonymous with sort of, big, bold films. I mean, the whole Batman franchise, Lost Boys, Flatliners, St. Elmo's Fire.
Oh,
I mean, hello.
Love that movie.
And it's funny, he actually was quite a polarising director. People either loved his films or loathed his films. But he's had some extraordinary, obviously, tributes paid to him on Twitter. I mean, we've had people like Jim Carrey, Joel has passed away. He saw deeper things in me. And for Jim to say that, because he's a very complex character. So Jim Carrey, we also had Kiefer Sutherland say something as well. Minnie Driver. So all a very good, strong gang of actors have really come out and said, boy, he was good at what he did. 80 years of age, he died of cancer, so R.I.P. Mr. Schumacher. Yeah.
More rumours, Mel, have emerged about Prince Harry and Meghan's upcoming biography.
Well, this book that actually has been written and finished 2 months before the royals decided to become unroyal, but there's a bit of a brouhaha because now the author, who is actually the royal editor at Harper's Bazaar Britain, he's had to come out a number of times on Twitter and say, look, everyone, no, I have not had to rewrite the book. It absolutely was finished 2 months before they decided to split the royal family. So, Obermeder, who is the co-author of the book, laughing and having to retweet these every week. The manuscript was signed off, well before the announcement. So this comes out in August, and I think it will be a book that a lot of people will read because actually both Meghan and Harry did sit down with the authors. So it's not exactly. So it's not unauthorised. So interesting times ahead.
Bestseller.
Yeah, love any type of Friends reunion, but specifically Jennifer Aniston and Lisa Kudrow have reunited for a new project.
This was fantastic. So there's a series that's going on at the moment called Actors on Actors. And so both Lisa Kudrow and Jennifer Aniston got together, and for an hour they just spoke about their time on Friends and, of course, the potential, and it will happen, the reboot, like a one-off. But once, of course, we're all over COVID, which is probably quite a while at this stage. But take a look at this grab. It's very, very funny.
There was the scene when the bagpipes happened.
The bagpipes?
That one I just could not. There was two. I'm just remembering three. Sorry if I'm taking too much time. But the bagpipes, where you started to sing full 100% committed with the bagpipes as sounding like the bagpipe, I couldn't hold it together. No one could hold it together.
You know the song. Sing along.
Episodes of the Friendship Show, Fluge?
Well, I feel like I'm going along with the crowd, in that I don't watch the show. I'm still not watching it in the hopes that one day we sit down and watch them together.
So she's never watched it?
I've never watched it. They actually all want to watch it together. But when you look at that, I want more. It's sort of actually my appetite has been sort of whet again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, can't wait.
Mel, thank you.
Thanks, Mel.
Bye-bye.
Well, stay with us. All your 7 News headlines are next.
Let's check the latest headlines. Ange Cox is in the newsroom.
Thank you, Sel. Good afternoon. There are long lines of people queuing to be tested for coronavirus across Melbourne. It comes after Victoria recorded 17 new cases overnight. It's thought many of those were spread through community transmission. Premier Daniel Andrews has pleaded with anyone who is not feeling well to stay at home. The rest of the nation is keeping a close eye on the coronavirus battle in Victoria. New South Wales residents are being urged to avoid Victorian hotspots and reconsider travel to Melbourne. WA has now shelved a plan to open its borders in August. Queensland and South Australia are considering doing the same. It couldn't have come at a worse time for Qantas as the airline prepares its fleet for the resumption of domestic travel. Survivors and the families of 15 backpackers killed in the Childers Hostel blaze have honoured the victims on the 20th anniversary of the tragedy. They want Robert Long, the man who lit the blaze, to stay behind bars. Marlena Watt reports.
It's been a sombre morning for the community of Childers as it remembers the 15 backpackers who were killed 20 years ago and reflects on the pain and suffering that continues for survivors around the world. The mass killing happened on the main street of the small town when Robert Paul Long set fire to the Palace Hostel. Most of the survivors were disappointed they could not make it to the anniversary, but one made it. Queenslander Sarah Mahoney. She was 17 years old when she escaped the deadly fire. She thanked the community, saying survivors continue to share a special bond with residents who looked after them in the wake of the tragedy. And she also had powerful words about the possibility of Robert Long being released on parole, something the Queensland Parole Board is still considering.
Why don't we just release Martin Bryant while we're at it? If we're just releasing the worst serial killers in Australia, the worst mass murderers, how would the public feel if we release Martin Bryant? They shouldn't feel much different from this guy.
Survivors say they will continue in their campaign to fight Robert Long's possible release. Today, the Palace Memorial Building will remain open for the public so members of the community can continue to come and pay their respects.
More than 30,000 drivers have been caught using their phones while behind the wheel in just 3 months by new cameras installed around Sydney. Transport officials say that's resulted in almost $16 million in fines at a time when many drivers were off the road because of the COVID lockdown. Revenue collected from the fines will go towards a road safety fund. Nestlé is changing the name of two of its most iconic lollies, Redskins and Chicos. Announced today, the company says the decision aligns with its values of respect and acknowledges the need to ensure no one is marginalised. The new names are yet to be finalised. The world recorded a new grim record of 183,000 new coronavirus cases in a single day on Sunday. The virus continues to spread in several countries like Mexico and Brazil. Others like Iran appear to be experiencing a second wave of infections. The World Health Organization says the next big challenge is to produce and distribute dexamethasone, the only drug shown to lower the risk of death of severely ill patients.
The recent finding that the steroid dexamethasone has life-saving potential for critically ill COVID-19 patients gave us a much-needed reason to celebrate.
However, the drug seems to have little effect on people with a mild form of COVID. Spanish musicians have played a show to 2,000 plants, which took the place of crowds after the coronavirus outbreak closed Barcelona's Opera House. The group played a selection of opera classics by Italian composer Puccini with rustling leaves used to simulate applause. The concert was streamed online. The plants were later donated to frontline health workers. Scorching temperatures like we'd see here during an Australian summer have been recorded in the Arctic Circle. It reached almost 38 degrees in Siberian region near the North Pole yesterday. That's 18 degrees above the typical June high. Families made the most of it with a swim in waters which are normally icy. But the extreme heat has also seen significant wildfires in the area. Checking the weather map here, a trough off the southwestern corner of WA is bringing showers and strong winds. A low and associated trough is sending cold winds and showers across Tasmania, Victoria and New South Wales. Around the capitals tomorrow, Brisbane sunny and 21, Sydney mostly sunny and 18. Early fog and 14 degrees in Canberra. Melbourne, mostly cloudy and 16 degrees. Hobart, rain easing and 14. Adelaide, showers and 15 degrees. An early shower and 20 in Perth. And for Dunny, Darwin, a sunny day ahead and 32 degrees. Not the Dunny.
No,
or
Darwin.
sunny.
That's right. Ange, thank you so much. Thanks so much for your company, guys, this afternoon. Shaun White, thanks so much for joining us.
Always good to be with you, Sally.
Real pleasure. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow afternoon at 2. Your company is very much appreciated. We'll see you guys then. Bye.